delicious pumpkin muffins. I don't know about where you are, but it's that time of year. It's all things pumpkin in this house, and I'm sure you might be experiencing the same. We love a good pumpkin muffin. And today is a little bit of a bake-off challenge because we're going to decide between whether we like the original version or the ones with chocolate chips in them. So I am looking forward to that. We're gonna stay tuned to the end because today we'll do a little bit of a taste and bake off, and you can help me decide which one's the best. I'll look forward to having your feedback to make sure that we make the best decision possible. So let's talk about how to make these because I don't know about you. I like my muffins to have that nice tall look and taste delicious at the same time. So that's what we're gonna do today. My recipe begins with soy milk, believe it or not. We're going to add soy milk to, let me get this stuff out of the way. We're going to add soy milk around. We're going to have a half cup in here. I like using soy milk because it has protein content in it. That's important because we're going to be adding, this is a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. And what happens when you add apple cider vinegar to soy milk, I'm just going to give it a little stir here, is a lot of things happen, but basically the acid in the apple cider vinegar causes the milk to curdle, which doesn't sound very attractive, I know, but it actually ends up adding a lot of flavor. And also that vinegar will react with the, it'll react with the baking soda and cause nice, light and fluffy muffins. Actually, apple cider vinegar is one of my favorite baking tips when you're cooking without eggs. So you can already see that it's starting to thicken, and that's exactly what we're looking for. And just letting it sit for a little bit longer will let that we're having like a little science experiment. It's like continuing to do that as we sit. So I like to do that first and let that sit aside while we mix together the dry ingredients. So the dry ingredients starts with 1 3/4 cups of flour. As per usual for me, I have about a 1 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour and about a half cup of whole wheat flour. I like combining the two because I feel like when you're using just all-purpose flour only, it's just a little bit too soft in my mind. I mean, they're fine. It's just that I've gotten used to. I really like adding a little bit of whole wheat flour. I just think it makes them a little sturdier. Right here, what I have is 3/4 cup of brown sugar. That's going to go in there like that. Let's talk about the spices because we really want a lot of spices. What I have here is 1 1/2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1 1/2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice, and then a half teaspoon of ground ginger because I just really love ginger. Why not add some more in there is the way I look at it. I have 1 teaspoon of baking soda and a half teaspoon of salt. We're adding salt because this recipe doesn't include anything like butter or things that would cause it to, add a little bit of a salty flavor. So a little bit of salt, you know how that goes. It brings out the flavor of the sweetness. So that's what we're after. So we're just going to give that a quick stir because we want everything to be distributed equally. We don't want one bite with too much baking soda in it. We want it all spread apart. We want all those spices and everything just distributed equally around. So it's better to do that before we add the liquid ingredients because that can cause your muffins to be a little too tough. So we don't want that. So that's pretty good. I'm going to set that aside. Now we'll combine our wet ingredients. So what I'm working with here is 1 cup of pumpkin. And here we're using the kind of pumpkin that's just the pumpkin puree. It's not pumpkin pie. That pumpkin pie mixture has sugar and spices and all these other things. This is just plain old pumpkin puree. So put that in there. And then to that, I'm going to add 1/3 cup of vegetable oil. Now, if you wanted to make yours without oil, you can just substitute, thank you, you can just substitute, applesauce. That would be great. That would make nice and delicious muffins, but vegetable oil is another way to go about that. So what I'm going to add to this next is our little vinegar mixture here, our buttermilk. Let me get that in there. I like to use a spatula and make sure I get as much of it as I can. And we're just going to stir that up. Nice. Just try to get it mostly distributed. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Same thing as the dry ingredients. You just want to get it well stirred. I like to stir everything before, let's see, before I mix the ingredients together, because that way we get that reaction, the chemical reaction from the baking. The baking soda hits that vinegar, and there's a reaction that happens, and we want to stir it minimally after that happens. So here, what we're going to do is combine these two. Look how fast this batter comes together. It's just amazing. And then we're just going to stir that together. This is a nice stiff dough. It's very, I like to do it this way because this dough will help the muffins rise. I like a nice tall muffin, and the thicker the dough or the batter, then the taller the muffins. Jennifer Ray says, hello from Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer. So good to see you. Patsy Floyd says, hello, everyone. Hi, Patsy. I'm so glad that you've joined us today. So we're just making pumpkin muffins, and I don't know about you, but it seems like the perfect time of year to be making pumpkin muffins. And stay tuned. As I said before, we're going to do a little contest here in a minute, because some of these are going to be made with chocolate chips and the others are going to be made like the original version. So you get to help me decide which one's the best. So I'm pretty excited about that. I also would love, if you want to leave a comment, in the live or later, and let me know what is your favorite add-ins to pumpkin muffins. So I can see all kinds of options. Okay, there we go. This is it. This is our batter is all ready to go. I have what I did is I prepared this pan and just put some paper liners in it. If you don't want paper liners, you can always just grease the pan itself. I also have silicone liners, though those work really well. But for today, we're just going to do something super simple. And what I like to use to keep things kind of neat is I like to use this cookie dough dispenser. Let's see. Jennifer says, yummy. Will coconut oil work in this recipe? Absolutely. I think coconut oil is a great idea. Thanks for asking that, Jennifer. Yes, I would probably melt it before I added it to the batter. So that's what I'll do, is I'll just do probably a little bit more than one in each of these. I have formulated this recipe so that it will make around 12 muffins. So what I'll do is I'm going to put some of these in here without chocolate chips and some with. So let's just keep going here. Fill them up. Don't you think? I just love using a cookie dough dispenser because it just makes it so much less messy. I can't tell you how many times I've been having to clean off the edge of the pan because I've got drippings everywhere. And so then I came up with this idea of, oh yeah, I forgot that chocolate chips. Okay, so what I have is, these are Enjoy Life chocolate chips. And as you can see, they're mini, but I think mini or the regular chocolate chips will work. We're just going to add those in here. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of chocolate chips, but I think it's going to be so good. I don't know anybody who's going to complain about too many chocolate chips in a muffin. No. Not me. It won't be me. I'll just tell you that. It won't be me. Another thing I think you could do if you didn't want to do as a substitute for coconut oil would be peanut butter. Peanut butter and pumpkin, I think, go very nicely together. So here goes the chocolate chip one. And then I'm going to also add that to this one here so that they're all nice and equal. And then these are ready to go in the oven. Now, another thing I like to do, I'm trying to encourage nice, tall muffins. And one thing I like to do is, I'm just going to add just a little bit more to that one, is I start the oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. As I'm talking to you, I'm just going to add a few more, the ones that are chocolate chips, I'm just going to add a few more chocolate chips on top. I like to start the oven at 400. And what happens when you start the oven at that high of a temperature is that it causes, more steam to build up as the muffins are cooking, and then it makes them taller. So these are just a couple of little tricks. Like we make a thick batter that helps the muffins get taller. We use buttermilk. That's another thing that helps the muffins get tall. And then having that oven temperature, we'll start it out at 400 for 10 minutes. and then we do it, and then we'll reduce the temperature to 350 Fahrenheit, obviously. So I'm going to put these in the oven right now, and they'll bake for 10 minutes. And then at 10 minutes, I'll have a timer set, and at 10 minutes, I'll turn the temperature down to 350. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, I think that encourages the muffins just to rise nice and tall, which looks very beautiful, don't you think? Look at that. That's exactly what I want from a muffin. I don't know about you. So I know some questions. We had that question about coconut oil. I love that one. Yes, if you're vegetable oil, you can substitute coconut oil. It'll work just fine. Another question you might have is whether or not you can use gluten-free flour. Absolutely. Just make sure you're using a high quality gluten-free flour, like one-to-one baking. You know, some gluten-free flours are formulated for baking, and just make sure that's what you're using, because that's what's going to be the most effective. So I'm curious if you all have had any time to think about what your favorite add-ins are, because add-ins make the muffins actually so special. For example, I think in these muffins, even if you like just the original, you don't want the chocolate chips, I think adding some chopped walnuts would be delicious. It would be so amazing. You could also put a streusel topping on it. Another great option is, if you don't want streusel, you could just add some coarse sugar over the top before you bake them, and that will add a nice little, it'll add a shine to the top of them, which is wonderful when you serve them. And then also you could add a little drizzle of whatever your favorite icing is. A little drizzle of icing over the top would just be beautiful. So those are the pumpkin muffins today. So you know what this means. It's time for my favorite part, which is the taste test. And today we have this challenge of which is better? Is it going to be the chocolate chip, or is it going to be the original? So I wanted to show you both. I'm going to take a bite out of this one. Let's do that. Look at that. That is so good.
Yeah, there's no contest.
I wish you could have heard Sean say that. He said there's no contest. For him, anything with chocolate in it is always going to win. I'm going to put that one here, and then let's try the original. I'm so excited. I can't. It's not every day that I get to have two different kinds of muffins in the same bite here. That's so good. It's very classic. Jennifer says chocolate chips. Jennifer, I think you might have a winner there. Diane says a vegan cream cheese icing would be good. Then you can decorate with pretty Halloween sprinkles. What a great idea. It would be, honestly, what is the difference between a cupcake and a muffin? Maybe it's icing. Yeah, I love that, Diane. Yes. Cream cheese, a little cream cheese drizzle on the top, a cream cheese icing, and then some pumpkin sprinkles or candies or whatever. Oh, that would be adorable. I love it. It's so good. It would transform these into Halloween muffins almost. You could also put the decoration. So, okay, here they are side by side. What do you think? Which one is the winner? What do you vote for? It's hard to choose. No, I'm laughing because, look at the chocolate chips. You cannot go wrong with that. But when you're ready for just like a classic flavor, this is just amazing too. So they're both really good. They're both winners in my book, if you ask me. Sean just said one is breakfast, one is dessert. Breakfast, dessert. I don't know. I think I could have them both. Either way. I love it. So good. Yes. Now let's see which one I end with, because that will tell you which one is the winner, really. But yes, I think they're both winners in my book. Thank you so much for joining me today. As always, I've had a really good time. I just love it when you're here with me in my kitchen. It just makes, my kitchen time even more fun. I always enjoy baking, especially. I love baking season. So I'm so glad that you're here with me. And I am really looking forward to hearing your comments about your favorite add-ins in pumpkin muffins. So please leave a comment below. Let me know what your thoughts are about your favorite add-ins. And if you love today's video, just give it a thumbs up and click subscribe for more recipes coming your way every week. Now, let's see. I think I'm going to have another bite of the chocolate one.